Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So, excuse me. Our goal is to draw a parallel line through this point. Okay? Now, like I said, there's a lot of different ways we can do this. But in my opinion, the easiest way to do this is like this. Put your compass of any size you like. Don't make it too big, okay? Pick a point on your line and make your compass point go through the point that you started with. So open up your compass as much as you need to so that your compass goes through that point, okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to make a circle, okay? We want a circle that goes through that point. All right? How? You don't need to put a lot of pressure on that thing. But grab another sheet of paper if you need to, or start over. Okay. Now what you're going to do is you see that you've touched the circle has touched the line in two places, right? Here and there. Okay? And now we're going to take our compass and we're going to open or close it so that we can do this. We want to make our compass be that big. Okay. And then once we found that width, and so my compass is the right size now, we can come over here and make that mark. So whatever width this was becomes that width. And now, there's your parallel line. Some of you might want to make sure that you have a compass at home so you can practice these. Okay? Now, the reason why this works is because when we figured out what that size was, and we did this thing over here, over there, you don't draw this, but look at mine. Don't draw this on yours. What shape is that? What's it called? It's a trapezoid, okay? And in a trapezoid, if you look up at the model on the wall, trapezoids have one pair of parallel lines. So we build a trapezoid in order to get that parallel line. So this is one way to make a pair of parallel lines. Let me show you another way that's actually really kind of cool too. So I'm going to start with another line. If you want. You're going to have to be able to do this, so whichever method you like, your best, you can use. The first one's really easy. And some of these others are just really pretty. So I'm starting with a point not on the line. Now, take your compass, and as long as your compass is big enough that it can go underneath the point, underneath the line, look at this method. Just watch me do it first before we try it together. We make a mark. We make another mark. Actually, I should have made a full size, we make an arc. And there's the parallel line. I'll do that one again. It's really kind of neat. That one's kind of neat. I'll do that one again for you guys to look at. So I set my compass to anything reasonable. I draw an arc. I make a mark. Bring it over. Thank you, sir. Not a problem. Okay. So the reason why this one works is because you remember I never changed my compass throughout the whole process on this one, right? So that means that that length and that length, and it is a parallelogram. In fact, it's a specific kind of parallelogram where all of the sides are equal. Look up at the models. Which one of those shapes has all of its sides equal? Well, the square does, yes. And so does, which one? The rhombus. That is a rhombus. Let me get you a piece of a compass here. All right. Grab a ruler. Take that. Here. Okay. So this is one way of making another way of making a parallel line through a point. Now, there are even, believe it or not, other ways. This one's fun.
Wait, I have a question about the second one. After you make that second line, what do you do after the third? Like, where do you make the third one?
You go big arc.
Yeah.
So you kind of walk around the shape. You see?
Yeah.
Cool. Here is even yet another one. Okay, let's try this one. If you do, here's another way of playing this. Take a look. Put your pin anywhere you want, literally anywhere. And make sure that you can go through the point you're interested in. And draw. You don't have to draw the whole circle, but you can. And now we're going to do the same thing we did in the first one. You see? We're making another trapezoid. But this one is upside down. It's a lot like the first one. So there's lots of different ways of making parallel lines through a point. It's a trapezoid, but it's upside down.
Is this the first one, bro?
Yeah, it's a lot like the first one. You see? There's my trapezoid. You can see it inside there. Kind of neat, huh? No? Mm-hmm. You take, let me see your compass. That measure, right there, that measurement is that measurement. Is it working? Ladies, is it working? Did you get one? Good. All right. Now, let's try something different. Let's copy an angle. All right, so what we want to do is we're going to start with an angle and we're going to recreate it somewhere else. Okay? So on your paper, start off by drawing, you might want to start a new paper or a new side. Okay, so we're going to start off with just an everyday garden variety angle of no particular size. Yes? Yes. Yes. Yeah, go ahead. If you need more paper, come up and grab it. Okay, so if we're going to make this angle, we need to make it somewhere. So I'm going to make my angle over here. So I'm going to start off with this angle over here, and I'm going to recreate it. I'm going to build it again over here. Okay? I'm going to reproduce it. Okay. So, open your compass to any normal size and draw an arc. Yes, ma'am. Normal? I'll put it to you this way. That's normal. That's normal. That's not normal. and this is not normal. That's just too darn small for you to even see. Okay? So, within reason, yes. Okay? Now, whatever size you chose, you draw an arc. Now you come over here and you do that arc again. Make it big enough. Make it plenty big enough.
Should it be the same size as the...
You don't want to eyeball it too close, because if you're off, you're going to have to redo it. So make it big enough that you'll be sure to go through it. All right. Now, remember how I told you guys about the difference between a compass and a divider? And remember, a divider is what the navigators on boats and planes use to walk on a map. Remember I showed you this? And you're just basically using this like you basically use your fingers. You know, if you want to measure this, it's that big, right? So I'm going to use my compass like a divider. And I'm going to open and close. You see how my compass isn't perfect right now, but it will be in a minute? So I'm going to use my compass to measure the distance between these 2 points. You see? So my compass needs to be resized after these. Once I make these 2 arcs, now I got to change my compass. I got to change my compass to whatever that size is. Okay? And we come over here with that size that we had. we bring it over here and mark it. And that mark is the same as this mark. They're in the same places. Right. So there's lots of little pieces in here. We go from, first thing we do is we draw the arc. We draw those two. Everyone with me on that? Okay. Do you have an angle on your picture? Okay. Now, you draw an arc, and then you resize. You're going to open and close it as you need to. Open it up, close it to get it to be the right size. And then we come over here and mark it. So let's try that one more time, guys. You make an angle. This time I'm going to make it a little bit bigger because I don't want to look exactly the same as the last one. It doesn't have to be any, it'll work no matter what. Okay, so everyone's trying it again? Ladies? Yeah. Joining with us? Yeah. Okay. Now, make your first arc, and don't change it. And now we have to open our compass so that we can measure that. And then we come over here and we make that mark again. Help out your neighbors. Okay, so I'm going to walk around and see how everybody's doing. Just going to pause this. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so it looks like most people are doing this pretty well. Some of you guys might want to practice a little bit more. So here's one. Here's an interesting problem. What if I wanted to make a triangle? A special, what do you call a triangle where two of its angles are the same size? I heard it. Isosceles. So we're going to make an isosceles triangle. So, What do you need? You have some up here. All right. So we're going to make an isosceles triangle. And in an isosceles triangle, like you said, two of the angles are the same. So this angle right here, I'm going to make this angle over here. Okay? So you can imagine my triangle is going to be somewhere like that, right? So draw an angle, and we're going to turn it into an isosceles triangle, just for fun. So, draw your arc, and now we're going to draw it over here. Make it a little longer if you need to. I just made an arc on both sides. Okay? And now, we're going to change our size. Bless you. Hmm? You can bring it here and I'll sharpen it.
Thank you.
And there's your isosceles triangle. I'll do it one more time. This is just for fun, but it would be a really good test question, I think. So, I take my arc, I take my compass, and I make two arcs of the same size. One there, and one there. And I'm going to copy the angle.
Oh, I did it backwards, but I know that.
So, copying an angle, thank you. Copying an angle is an important construction. We need to be able to make it. We also need to remember to, how it's done and how to spit out our gum in the trash. All right. So, if we can copy an angle, and those angles, what word can we use to describe those two angles? That's the triangle, but what about those two angles themselves? They are congruent. Okay. And we know that in parallel lines, we have congruent angles in lots of places, right? So we can actually use this method to make parallel lines. So, if we use our copying of an angle methods, we can use it to make a pair of parallels. So, this one starts off differently than all of the others I showed you, because we're going to start off by making a transversal. So start with a line and a point. And make a transversal that you're going to copy your angles on. Okay. Now, we're going to use that same copying of an angle method that we used a minute ago Okay? Now look. Watch what I'm doing. I make the arc, and then I pick my compass up, and I make another arc.
So you just skip
No. First you draw the transversal. Then you put your pin on that point. You draw an arc. And then you slide your compass up so that your pin is on the original point. And you draw the other arc. Okay? All right. Now, I'll use, let me see if I can find, there we go, use a blue. Okay, so once you've got that, now we open up our compass to make it fit the right size. Okay? Just like this is how we copied the angle a minute before. Once we've drawn our arc, we measure the size of the arc. And then we go up and do it over here. And there is my other line. Do we see how this is done? It's not my favorite way of making parallel lines. It's really not. In fact, I think this is probably the worst way to make a pair of parallel lines. It is the most error-prone. It's the most complicated. But unfortunately, it's the one that whoever makes the SOL, they like this one. So if you need to make a pair of parallel lines on a test of any kind, I really don't care what method you use as long as you get it right. I've taught you now 4 different ways. But if you see this picture, you'll need to know that what you're doing is making parallel lines. Okay? All right. So, should we make this one more time? All right. Now, this picture, everybody put your name on that one.
mine's on both lines.
And go ahead and turn that in up here on my altar. And I will,
What you want to turn in one?
I want the last one, this one.
Oh, I did on both papers.
That's fine, just turn in one. All right. This episode of The Ronco Show has been brought to you by Compass and Straightedge.